yeah. Is it? What's today? Tuesday. Is it Tuesday already? Whew. We got some good news today, Star Wars fans. As Giancarlo Esposito, who of course plays the Moff Gideon, or did play Moff Gideon, in The Mandalorian, has just said that there is a new vision, new plan, and possibly new trilogy coming for Star Wars. Not only that, there is a new Star Wars movie, or at least a new movie that has to do with Star Wars, hitting theaters on November 1st, about John Williams and the genius behind all the greatest soundtracks from all your favorite movies. Not only that, we have some Star Wars Outlaws news. Not really great news, but it's news nonetheless. So let's dive into all of it. What's up, everybody? How's everybody doing on this fine Tuesday afternoon? What's up, chat? This is going to be a fun stream today. I can already feel it because we got some good news to talk about. This Mando trilogy we've been talking about for weeks and months and years since Dave Filoni's Mando movie was announced. It might be true. This Mando trilogy might be real, according to Giancarlo Esposito, who, of course, played Moff Gideon in The Mandalorian Season 1, Season 2, and Season 3. But does this mean that Moff Gideon is still alive? There's a lot of fan theories roaming around after Mando Season 3 with my clones that Moff Gideon was not dead. And that version that we saw that died was just a clone. We'll talk about it in a little bit. I'm not the biggest fan of this theory. I hope Moff Gideon remains dead, even though I love Giancarlo as an actor. I do not want to see him back as Moff Gideon. That would not be something I would want to see. But what he has to say for himself is pretty dang cool. Okay, so first things first, let's say hi to everybody in the chat, shall we? Skywalker Academy, what is up? Fearless, how we doing? Kip Visto, what is up? A guy who loves Disney. Great name, I guess. What is up? Brandon Baker in the house. Aaron, what is up? Christopher, how we doing? Nathan, what's up? Zap in the house. Lee, how we doing? Navarro, what is up? Aaron, did I already say? Agnes, what is up? Mando United, how we doing? Starchip 66 in the house. Mace Cameron, what is up? Rose, how we doing? Darth Thor, what is up? All right, if I miss you, you know the deal. Just give me a nice little, just yell at me in the chat, and let's just give everybody a nice little.
Hello there,
General Kenobi.
Okay. So we got to talk about something. We're starting the stream off right, as Aaron has joined a member. So before we do his nice membership song, let me just clarify for everyone who isn't a member that becoming a member is the best way to support the channel. And of course, at the end of every month, we have an awesome, cool giveaway. And last stream was the end of the month, so we gave away a Mando helmet. So yeah, the giveaways just keep getting bigger as the channel just keeps growing, and we keep getting more members. So Aaron, welcome to the people who love Star Wars. Welcome to the people who love Star Wars, Aaron, at the Padawan level. I appreciate it. I really, really do. Indeed, I do. Okay, so let's talk about this Mando trilogy. Let's talk about what Giancarlo Esposito had to say about the future of the Star Wars universe. Shall we? Okay, so first things, actually, wait, before we even get to that, I know, I'm all over the place already. Did you guys see that Indiana Jones 1 through 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4 were all just taken off of Disney Plus? This just happened like right before the stream started, or somebody just noticed right before the stream started. Have you guys seen this? If you go on Disney Plus right now, I'll prove it to you guys. If you go on Disney Plus right now, here, boom, Disney Plus. See that? Okay, so if you go on Disney Plus, it's got all the nice little things. Agatha's number 1 right now? Crazy. Oh, it's a bunch of, it's Halloween season, guys. But this is your top 10, I guess. Okay, so then you got like all this stuff recommended for me, of course, is Star Wars, WandaVision, Star Wars. Okay. The live channels are out now, by the way, too. So you got a Hallow stream thing for Halloween, throwbacks, hits, and heroes, which of course is Marvel. Oh, right now you can watch Attack of the Clones. Should we just tune in to watch Attack of the Clones? I don't think we can do that. We'll get copy struck. But you got a bunch of stuff, kids stuff, hits and heroes, news, real life, I guess. I don't know. So you got a bunch of cool live channels now on Disney Plus. But if you go to this search thing here and you search Indiana Jones, there's only Indiana Jones in the Dial of Destiny, which is Indiana Jones 5. There's a special look at the Indiana Jones Dial of Destiny and then a documentary about Indiana Jones. The first 4 Indiana Jones movies have been taken off of Disney Plus. I don't know why. I don't know what's going on. Somebody please tell me in the chat if you know what's going on. But I don't know. What is this about, chat? What is this about? What's next? This concerns me as a Star Wars fan. Yes, if I wanted to go back and rewatch Indiana Jones, I'd be hurt because it's not there. But is something Star Wars going to go next? I don't know. It's a little bit concerning. A tad bit concerning. But that's just something that happened right before the stream started, so I thought I'd bring it up. I thought I'd bring it up before we get into this Giancarlo Esposito whole deal here. Okay? Okay. So, weird. Definitely keep our eyes out on the Star Wars projects, seeing if those start to disappear, because that would be a disaster, and I would not be very happy about it. But we'll see. We'll see. Just keep an eye out on that. Indiana Jones 1 through 5, or 1 through 4, are all gone. All gone. So we'll see what's going on with that. But for now, we'll see. Okay. Rose, what's up, says, just for general information, most of us are pronouncing Giancarlo Esposito's name wrong. It's pronounced Esposito. Is that not what I'm saying? I'm confused. Is that not what I've been saying this entire time? Okay. Darth Thor says, why bring him back again? It was bad in season 3, and it's only going to get worse. They need to hold him off for a few seasons or movies to give him the oh shit feeling, not just bring him back in everything else. Well, him showing up in season 3 made sense. He was supposed to be in season 3. That made sense. My problem with Giancarlo, or Moff Gideon, I should say, in season 3 was the lack of him. He was only in the last 2 episodes. He should have been in the entire season. Obviously, he got broken out of the New Republic prison, but he should have been in more of the season. But let's talk about this, okay? So what news are we really talking about here? What news are we really talking about? Let's read this, shall we? Let's come from Screen Rant. Let's read this. A new vision, quote unquote. Mandalorian movie and Star Wars franchise's future predicted by Giancarlo Esposito, an inside man. The Mandalorian actor, Giancarlo Esposito, who played Moff Gideon in the fan-favorite show, The Mandalorian, shared his perspective on the future of Star Wars in light of Star Wars' upcoming TV shows and the new Star Wars movie. The Mandalorian and Grogu movie, of course, being one of them. The Star Wars franchise has experienced a number of changes in the recent years, in large part because of the Skywalker saga end with Star Wars Rise of Skywalker, leaving the future of the Star Wars movies and TV shows in question with the end of the saga. Well, Star Wars has since released a number of live-action TV shows, The Mandalorian being among them. The franchise's future seems as open-ended as ever. Moff Gideon actor Giancarlo Esposito weighed in on the question of where Star Wars will go from here, providing his insight as someone who was so integral in The Mandalorian. According to Culture Slate, Esposito explained this, saying, As in the MCU, Disney will figure out how to join all of these characters into one really great movie or TV show. That's my sense of where it will go. Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau, is this rhyming on purpose, have a new vision. Continuing with the Mandalorian movie, my sense is that they're all going to converge at one point or another, and we are going to have another set of a trilogy or more of films. A trilogy or more of films. So let's talk about this. This is a guy who worked for about 4 years with Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni on the set of The Mandalorian. A guy who knows that there is some sort of new vision going on over at Disney, over at Lucasfilm with Star Wars. He's probably been in a lot of those conversations about the future of what's going to go down with Star Wars, how this is all going to come together. And very similar to how the MCU did with all those different stories coming together in Avengers movies, or even all of those stories coming together in Avengers Infinity War and Endgame, from Black Panther to Guardians of the Galaxy to every story at the same time, coming together, all those main characters and side characters coming together to fight Thanos in Endgame. The same way that happened, we're going to see something very similar with the Star Wars Disney Plus shows, most likely in movies. Most likely. But it will be a combination of all these different characters, from Din Djarin and Grogu, to Boba Fett and Fennec Shand, to Ahsoka Tano, Sabine, Hera, Huge Wang, and all those Rebels crew, to Skeleton Crew members. We haven't met them yet, but Jod Nawood, hopefully our boy Neil, and maybe, just maybe, even the original trio, Luke, Leia, and Han. Most likely, the Thanos of this whole story is the big blue meanie Grand Admiral Thrawn. Could be Abeloth. Could be. But from what we understand, it's most likely going to be Thrawn. So that's kind of where this franchise is going. That's where all these Disney Plus shows are leading to. A big climactic event, hopefully a trilogy, in the Mandoverse. Bringing all these different shows from the Book of Boba Fett to Ahsoka to Mando to Skeleton Crew all together on the big screen in a trilogy. That's what we've been predicting for months, if not years now. And now, from a source who worked so hard and long on The Mandalorian, Giancarlo Esposito, he seems to be saying the same thing. Because John and Dave have a new vision. Continuing with this Mandalorian movie, there's going to be some sort of convergence in the movie theaters in a trilogy or more of films. Might not be a trilogy. Could be even more. Could be a saga. Probably not. But it could be a lot more than just trilogies or a singular trilogy. So with that being said, we're going to keep reading this article. But with that being said, let's put up a poll in the chat. Let's put up a poll. I'm going to end the last one, which was just like the stream. If you haven't liked the stream, what the hell are you waiting for? How many likes do we even have right now? Smash a freaking like on this stream. All right. And with that being said, do you want a Mandalorian, or we'll just go Mandoverse, actually. A Mandoverse trilogy. Yes or no? What do we think, chat? Let's be honest. Yes, The Mandalorian is the most viewed thing on Disney Plus. Yes, it's probably Disney's best Star Wars project as a whole, 3 seasons across. Yes, the Ahsoka show is pretty successful. Book of Boba Fett, not as much, but they've had success on Disney Plus. But Star Wars has always meant to be on the big screen. And not only that, it's sort of leading all these different characters to some big event. The heir to the Empire being Grand Admiral Thrawn. And we'd rather see that, or I'd rather see that, on the biggest screen possible, in a movie theater, the way that Star Wars is meant to be. So my question to you is, do you agree? Would you rather see Star Wars just remain on Disney Plus in this Mandoverse? See more seasons of Skeleton Crew, more seasons of Ahsoka, more seasons of Book of Boba Fett, more seasons of The Mandalorian? Or would you rather a Mando trilogy? And when I say Mando trilogy, that doesn't mean just Din Djarin and Grogu trilogy. That means all these characters. Mandoverse. All these different shows coming together in a trilogy. Now, we'll get to the Luke, Leia, and Han of it later. I'm just talking Mandoverse characters. Now, you could say that Luke's a Mandoverse character. He did show up in 2 of the projects. But I'm just talking about characters that won't have to be insanely deep-faked or recast. I'm just talking Din, Boba Fett, Ahsoka, the main people. You know? The main people. Connor, what's up? Hi, Haja, what's up? How we doing? What do we think, chat? Trilogy, yay or nay? All right, we're going to keep reading this article in a second, but let's see. Let's see what we say. Moff Gideon in the Great Empire Bake Off. Oh my God. Okay. Over here, we still have Ahsoka in a New Galaxy. That's true, but Ahsoka Season 2 will likely either bring Ahsoka back from Peridea or explain why she's not coming back from Peridea. Because I could see it really going one of two ways. Ahsoka's either going to be very integral in what's going to come in this possible Mando trilogy, or she's not going to be a part of it at all. She's just going to be on Peridea, stuck there, and that will explain why she's not involved. It will explain why she doesn't have a relationship with Luke. It'll explain why she's not in the sequel trilogy. I don't know. We'll see what they have in store for Ahsoka, but by the end of the first season of Ahsoka, she seems pretty sure that she's supposed to be on Peridea. She talks about it being her destiny to be there. So I don't really know if she's going to be involved too much in this possible trilogy that we're talking about today. You know? And of course, I'm drinking out of my Ahsoka mug today. Of course. Okay. We have Thrawn returning to the Star Wars galaxy with Ezra stowing away on his ship. That's true. That is true. Mace, what's up? RG says, Giancarlo, I'm not sure, can be fully trusted. After Mando Season 3 came out, he was saying that we'd be seeing a lot more of Moff Gideon in Season 3, and he really didn't come back until the last 2 episodes. That's true, but I mean, we did see more of the character. Coming into Season 3, we didn't expect, honestly, to see Moff Gideon, because at the end of Season 2, he gets captured by the New Republic. So before Season 3 aired, we just assumed that he was in prison. We didn't know who the bad guy was going to be in Season 3 until it was him again. Whether that was the right decision or not, I don't know. Maybe. Martha J, what's up, Martha? How we doing? It's been a while. Yeah, so Moff Gideon, Giancarlo definitely didn't lie when he said Moff Gideon was going to be a big part in Season 3. He was. He was the main villain still. But, yeah. I'll ask this question in a second. Well, let's keep reading. Let's keep reading, shall we? Okay, so a possible trilogy or more of films is what Giancarlo Esposito says, with a new vision led by Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau. Esposito's assessment of Star Wars' future certainly does seem to be exactly the direction that the franchise is taking, particularly with so many different projects currently set in this New Republic era, or what we've dubbed the Mando-verse. What does this mean for Star Wars' future? Esposito's perspective on Star Wars' future is well supported by recent moves with the franchise has made, and it makes sense for Esposito to be one of the best members of the Star Wars franchise to offer that insight. The Mandalorian is so much more than just one of Star Wars' best TV shows, although it is certainly also that. At present, The Mandalorian seems to be foundational to the future of Star Wars. Many shows and movies, including The Mandalorian and Grogu, are set in this New Republic timeline, and The Mandalorian laid that groundwork for the future. As Esposito stated, it seems Star Wars is moving towards a climactic show or movie that will tie together The Mandalorian and Grogu, Ahsoka Season 2, and perhaps even Star Wars Skeleton Crew, which is supposed to be the next Star Wars show set in the New Republic era, which comes out in, guess what, guys? 2 months! Skeleton Crew is in 2 months! Start the countdown! Okay. Esposito was also right. He was also right that this will likely take a page out of the MCU's book, which successfully completed the Infinity Saga with Infinity War and Endgame and moved on to the Multiverse Saga as yet another major Disney franchise. It makes sense for Star Wars to follow suit. So let's talk about that too. There was a lot of conversations. What's up, John? A lot of conversations about Kevin Feige coming over to Star Wars and making a Star Wars movie. Do you guys remember that? Give me a 1 into the chat if you remember that. Kevin Feige was going to get a Star Wars movie. The rumor had it that he was a bigger Star Wars fan than he is a superhero Marvel fan. The guy who's been running Marvel for the last 15 years, he's a bigger Star Wars fan than he is a Marvel fan, which is crazy. But that never really panned out. He didn't come over to make a movie. He's very busy over there at Marvel dealing with that stuff. But yeah, he's got his hands full. We'll put it that way. But what he did over at Marvel from 2008 to 2019, something like that, 2008 to 2019 was something extraordinary. And a decade run of historic box office absolute explosions, billions upon billions of dollars, time and time again, all coming together in this 2-movie epic thing called Infinity War and Endgame. Marvel's obviously another Disney IP, along with Star Wars. So why wouldn't Star Wars follow suit? Do something very, very similar. Have it sort of in phases where fans can watch shows on Disney Plus, watch movies in the theaters, and it's all kind of interconnected, as Star Wars should always be. Even projects like The Acolyte should be connected to the Skywalker saga like it was. So this might be exactly what's going on here. The Mandalorian might just be the first phase of that. Because after The Mandalorian is over, after this trilogy or possible trilogy is completed, what's next? An Old Republic trilogy, an Old Republic saga, or something else, a post-sequel trilogy saga, or a High Republic saga, or a Dawn of the Jedi saga, whatever it may be. It seems like they're taking the formula from the MCU and plugging and placing it into Star Wars, which isn't a horrible idea, if we're being honest. But let's keep reading. Let's keep reading, shall we? Wait, what? Oh. Okay. The future really is bright for Star Wars fans. Now, we talk about this all the frickin' time. I cannot emphasize this enough. Right now, currently, is the greatest time to be a Star Wars fan ever. I've been saying this for about a year and a half now, and it just continues to be true. Right now is the greatest time to be a Star Wars fan. I mean, maybe it'll change because Indiana Jones just got taken down off of Disney, and who knows what's next, Disney Plus. Who knows what's next? If Star Wars starts getting taken down off Disney, then maybe this will change. But right now, you can get hyped up for Skeleton Crew in 2 months. You can get hyped up for Andor Season 2, which comes out next year. You can get hyped up for the Mandalorian Grogu movie, hyped up for Dawn of the Jedi, hyped up for Ahsoka Season 2. But if you want to watch any of the greatest Star Wars to ever exist, it's on Disney Plus. Whenever you want, you can go watch the greatest franchise, greatest projects to come from that franchise on Disney Plus, whenever you want. It is the single greatest time to ever be a Star Wars fan. If you were a Star Wars fan 30 years ago, you didn't have this new stuff that's really good to watch. If you're a fan 40 years ago, yeah, you're watching the original trilogy and it's incredible, but you don't have the prequels. You don't have Mandalorian. You don't have Rogue One. You don't have those amazing projects to watch. And now, it just keeps getting better. It just keeps getting better. You can go back and watch all those incredible things on Disney Plus. And you can get hyped up for what's coming next. But let's see what this article has to say about it. There's been plenty of negativity in the Star Wars franchise as of late, with the Acolyte's cancellation in particular, but I remain hopeful for Star Wars' future. Rey's upcoming Star Wars movie, rumored to be titled Star Wars New Jedi Order. This is the working title. I don't think it's going to be the final title, but for now, it is the working one. Will kick off a brand new era in the Star Wars timeline that is currently undefined, meaning the possibilities are endless. Now, this can be said about pretty much anywhere in the Star Wars timeline. The possibilities are truly endless when you look at the Star Wars galaxy right now, because you can go all the way back to the Dawn of the Jedi, which they're doing with James Mangold's movie, or you can go past the sequel trilogy, which they're doing with Rey's New Jedi Order movie. You can go wherever you want, and the possibilities are endless. That's the coolest part about Star Wars. When you look at other franchises, they don't have that endless possibility. When you look at like Lord of the Rings, for example, because it's coming out right now, Rings of Power, there isn't endless possibilities. There's one possibility. Sauron makes all the rings, he makes his one ring to rule them all, and he dies. That's the end. We know that for a fact. When it comes to Star Wars, there is endless possibilities. Even look at Marvel. Yeah, there's technically kind of endless possibilities. But these characters, these superheroes, already have stories sort of played out in the comics. Now, they're not one-to-one copies into live action, but usually the heroes are going to beat the bad guys. And the same could be said about Star Wars, but that's not always the case. Look at Order 66. Definitely wasn't the good guys winning, and they lost for the next 30 years, or 20 some odd years. Yeah, possibilities are truly endless. I also agree with Esposito that Star Wars is very intentionally building towards a show or movie to bring together many New Republic stories. As a Star Wars and MCU fan, I find it to be a very exciting prospect. This plan will likely be rolled out sooner rather than later, not only because Lucasfilm already confirmed The Mandalorian and Grogu will release on May 22nd, 2026, but also because the franchise is booked release dates on December of 2026 and December of 2027. While these projects aren't yet identified, Star Wars Celebration 2025 is just around the corner, which will be the perfect time for Star Wars to unveil this overarching plan. I truly believe Giancarlo Esposito hit the nail on the head with this insight, which has me excited about the future of The Mandalorian and far beyond. So yeah, The Mandalorian and Grogu movie comes out in about a year and a half, give or take, just a little bit over that. But there's two untitled Star Wars projects in December of 2026 and December of 2027. Whether that's the Rey movie or the Dawn of the Jedi movie or whatever, we don't know yet. It hasn't been specifically identified. But I think the December 2026 one will most likely be the Rey movie. We already know for a fact, thanks to last Star Wars Celebration in 2023, that Dave Filoni is getting his own Star Wars movie in the Mandoverse. So there's already 2 Mandoverse movies confirmed. And Star Wars does not work in 2 movies. They work in 3, known as trilogies. So the possibility of a trilogy has just gone up and 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 up. And especially with Giancarlo Esposito's stamp of approval and his possible new vision coming from Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau, it seems like this trilogy is more likely now than it ever has been. And honestly, I could not be more excited. A Mando frickin' trilogy, with Grand Admiral Thrawn being the heir to the Empire, possibly drawing in the main characters of Luke, Leia, Han, Chewie, Lando, and all of them. It excites me. It gives me a lot of hope for the future. We're not just talking the next couple of years, okay? We're talking the next 5 to 10 years. A trilogy spans at least 6 years. It's going to be one movie from the trilogy every 2 years, just like they did with the sequel trilogy. That means if 2026 is the start of this trilogy, 2030 is the end of it. And 2030 is still 6 years away, or 5-ish years away. What 2 Mando movies? Well, The Mandalorian and Grogu, which is Jon Favreau's movie, and Dave Filoni's. Lobo, what's up? So that's what Giancarlo had to say about that, which is pretty damn cool, if I do say so myself. What is this? Oh, okay, never mind. But what do we think? What do we think? Does it seem like it's gonna be better than ever? Do we have a good feeling about this upcoming Mando trilogy? Do we have I
got a bad feeling about this.
Or are we really just like,
this is where the fun begins?
I don't know. I could do that all day. But yeah, what do we think, chat? What do we think? Catherine, how we doing? Rolo, how we doing? Do you think Ahsoka will cameo in the movie? No. I don't. I think Ahsoka Season 2 will come out after the Mandalorian and Grogu movie. So I don't think she's still on Peridia. No, I don't think so. I think this Mando and Grogu movie will be Ahsoka-less. Yeah. I think maybe he'll need Ahsoka's help, but she won't be there to give it. But we'll see how that goes. Yeah. Well, we all know that it's eventually leading to the sequel trilogy. Yes, but there's still a good 20 years until that sequel trilogy begins. Probably 25 years, actually. The time gap between the originals and the prequels is only 19 years. The time gap between the originals and the sequels is about 20... Hang on, let me check this. How long is the gap between original trilogy and sequel trilogy? Why does it not just tell me? 30 years. So right now we're about, what, 5 to 10-ish years after the original trilogy. So yeah, we got a whole nother 20 to 25 years until this sequel trilogy begins. That's a lot of storytelling to tell. A lot can happen in 30 years of storytelling. Think about it this way. The original trilogy, I believe, spans only 5 years, maybe 6. I think there's a 3-year gap in between and a 1-year gap in between. So I think it's about 4, 5, 6-ish years. The sequel trilogy, on the other hand, is only about a year and a half, if even that. Maybe 2 years max. It's a very short time period. The prequels is the longest of them all because there's that big 10-year gap in between 1 and 2. Then you have about a year-ish gap in between 2 and 3. So that's probably 10, 12-ish years, somewhere in there. It's the gap in between these trilogies that is way longer and so much time to tell stories. So much time. And obviously, you have an infinite amount of times on both ends, before the prequels and after the sequels. But 30 years is a long time to tell a lot of stories about Grand Admiral Thrawn, about Din Djarin, about Grogu, about Luke Skywalker and his giant temple, about Ben Solo and his fall to the dark side. There's endless possibilities, even in a confined space of 30 years. Yeah. Plenty of time. Absolutely. And not only that, you can make the sequels even better for a lot of fans. I always bring up the example of the Clone Wars. For many fans who didn't like the prequel trilogy, watched the Clone Wars, and now they love the prequel trilogy. Because the Clone Wars is what they thought was missing because there wasn't enough time to tell the story of the downfall of Anakin Skywalker. They thought it was too fast. I'm not one of those people. I think that they did it very well in the movies, from episode 1 to episode 2 to episode 3. But the Clone Wars doesn't hurt. Definitely makes the prequel trilogy even better just by exploring those characters even more and introducing new characters like Ahsoka frickin' Tano. But I think the sequel trilogy could use that extra help as well, especially with this Mandoverse. I think already the sequel trilogy has been made better just by the existence of Mandalorian and Ahsoka and the Book of Boba Fett. It's more the question of where do these characters end up by the time of the sequel trilogy and what they're doing if they're still alive during that time of the sequel trilogy. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, just go down to the bottom. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Oh, here we go. Hodges says, it's been the greatest time being a Star Wars fan since 1977. I'm an old fart. I have spoken. This is the way. Okay. Nice. Yeah, nice. Yeah. Okay. Do you think Dawn of the Jedi will show the Jedi during the glory days? I mean, what do you define as the glory days? Just no Sith around? Yeah, I hope so. I think it will. I think Dawn of the Jedi has the opportunity to do some really, really cool stuff. Okay? Not only introduce the first ever Force users, but the first ever lightsaber, first ever person to actually go like this and it moves something and then they kill them because they're like, he's a witch or something. I don't know, I'm kidding. But yeah, they have the opportunity to do some really cool stuff. And the story in Legends is pretty damn awesome. You have those, I don't remember the name of them, but the like pyramid ship things that literally just go around the galaxy and pick up Force sensitive people and bring them to Tython. And then they're just like, go ahead, learn the Force. Yeah, it'll be very, very interesting to see how that goes. To see how the Dawn of the Jedi plays out. Because it will just be Force users at the beginning. It's not the Jedi and the Sith right away. There's a split that happens because some want to be the light side, some want to be the dark. There's this balance between, and then there's the divide. Very much like the Star Wars fandom, actually. It'll be pretty interesting. Yeah, it'll be pretty interesting to see that, how they kind of compare and contrast. Yeah. Matthew says, Disney is letting people control the narrative. People keep saying that even everything with Mando and Grogu is canceled and Star Wars is on pause. Who's saying that? Who's saying that? I haven't heard any of that. Actually, I've heard quite the contrary. Mandalorian and Grogu is filming right now. They're coming close to the end of filming, actually. It'll probably end in November, if I were to guess. It couldn't be more active. Couldn't be more not on pause. I'm confused. Skeleton Crew is in the Mandoverse as well, and that comes out in 2 months. I don't know who you're listening to. I don't know what you're listening to, Matthew. Oh, David Fieldsense with a very generous $5 holla. I appreciate that, David. Says, I think the Mando movie and how Star Wars lands back in theaters will be a make it or break it test for Kathleen Kennedy. She needs a theater home run. Absolutely. The Mandalorian and Grogu movie, being the first Star Wars movie in 7 years, is going to be insanely important for how the next movie goes. So yes, the Rey movie is set to go. The Dawn of the Jedi movie is almost set to go. But all of it is riding on the first movie to come back to theaters. The first movie to come back to theaters in 2015 was The Force Awakens. And a lot of fans really, really, really enjoyed that story. It introduces new characters, it brings back old, and it does it in a pretty good way, leaving high hopes for the next couple movies. The next couple movies, I think, in my personal opinion, is what kind of made that first one look a little bit worse. So how coming back to the movie theaters goes is a huge deal. Absolutely huge deal. And it needs to stick the landing. Especially not just for movies in general, but for the Mando trilogy as well. If we're going to get a trilogy, it has to start off well. That's for damn sure. So yeah, absolutely. This Mandalorian and Grogu movie has so much riding on it. It's absolutely insane. And the good news is I think they made this the first movie instead of the Rey movie because they're smart. They understand that the Rey movie could be a good story, could be an extension of the sequel trilogy, but also bring us to the future past the sequel trilogy and maybe even redeem some characters like Finn and Rey. But they know that if they did that first, it would anger a lot of fans. It's going to anger a lot of fans either way. But if they did it first, it would not be sort of taken lightly or taken well. So it'll be interesting. It will be interesting, but I agree with you, David, and I appreciate the $5 holla. I really, really do. The Mando movie has a lot of riding on it. It's make or break time. It's make or break time. At least not yet, but it will be make or break time. Yeah, I appreciate it. Super chats, memberships, keep the lights on over here. And of course, I'll do any Star Wars impression for any amount of super chat. Okay. Clint Collectibles, what's up? Clint says, did they ditch the less space witches yet? The less space witches yet? Did they ditch the space witches yet? I seriously doubt it. I mean, Thrawn just brought a whole freaking army of them back to the main galaxy, so I'm guessing we're going to see a lot more witches in Star Wars. Yeah. Did anybody see my what if from this weekend? Give me a 1 to the chat if you watched the what if from this weekend. Talk about space witches. Did you guys see that? That was the most fun what if I've ever written in my life. It was so cool, and I think the ending really came together well with, of course, that nice space witch. Yeah. I mean, Asajj Ventress, you can't go wrong with that. She's the goat, you know? She's the goat. Martha J, my goodness, with a very generous $10 holla. Holy shit. Says, congrats on your YouTube subscribers. Thank you. Yes, we did just hit 90K last week. We just hit 91,000 yesterday or today, something like that. So we are on our road to 100, of course. Start the countdown. If the countdown starts at 10, we are at 9. We're at 9. Getting to 8. But I appreciate it, Martha. I really, really do. I really, really do. John says, I'll be lucky if I'm still alive by 2030. I'm 63 if I can make it. You'll be 63 if you can make it? 63 is so young. What are you talking about, John? You'll make it. John, I have faith, okay? You'll be here for the Mandalorian. No, John, not only that, you'll be with us in the movie theater watching it together. Because we're doing, for every one of these Mando Trilogy movies, I'm renting out an entire theater and we're watching it together, okay? So, John, 2030 is rolling around. The final installment of the Mando Trilogy will be coming out, and you're going to be there. All right. Yeah. Pam Hill, what's up? Movies on paper don't count? What do you mean? Oh, like movies that haven't been done yet, you're saying? Yeah, obviously. But, I mean, the Mandalorian Grogu movie is filming right now. On paper, it's already done. Yeah, no? What are you going to do? Martha says, having news shows with only one season to fill in gaps will be better than having 2 to 3 season shows. That's actually a great question. Do you guys agree with that, chat? Would you rather a show that's only one season to fill a gap? Like, for example, The Book of Boba Fett. The Book of Boba Fett serves a purpose. It fills the gap between episodes, between Mando Season 1 and Mando Season 2 and Mando Season 3. It serves the purpose of telling that story in between those 2 seasons. Would it be better to do stuff like that or to have multiple seasons of shows like The Mandalorian or like Ahsoka? I actually got to disagree about that. I think multiple seasons is better. You have more time to tell a story. Going back to Lord of the Rings, because I just talk about it all the time for some reason, it's a really good show. That's why. Rings of Power is coming out right now. Season 2 of Rings of Power is coming out currently. And it's really, really good. If you're not watching it, go watch it. But you don't have to know anything about it. You just got to know this. The first season was not accepted well by the audiences, to put it lightly. It's very similar to The Acolyte. It had a very similar thing to The Acolyte, where it wasn't like the fandom for Lord of the Rings was very divided on it. Very divided. Some hardcore Tolkien fans were saying this isn't what he wrote, blah, 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 and there was a whole out war. I'm not really invested in Lord of the Rings like that, so I wasn't involved in it, but it's very similar from what I've been described to what happened with The Acolyte. However, Season 2 now is absolutely banger. Season 1 was banger too, but at least to me. But Season 2 is even better. And now I'm seeing all these different articles being released about did we go too hard on this show? Did we judge too early? Because the story wasn't finished. Season 1 was just part 1 of 5 of a story that was being told in that world. Rings of Power was set up to be a 5-season show. It still hopefully will be a 5-season show, but there was a concern that it wouldn't get greenlit for a second season after the first season was met with such a divide. Very similar to what happened with The Acolyte. Regardless of how you feel about The Acolyte show, would it have benefited from getting a second season, more about Plagueis, more about Chimere? Absolutely. And who knows, it could have got even better and better and better from there. It could have got to a young Palpatine at some point. Maybe it's Season 3 or 4 or 5. But we'll never get to see that because Season 1 was so neglected and so divided. Similar things can be said about even other Star Wars projects in general. Look at not the Mandalorian. Look at the Clone Wars. Clone Wars Season 1 is not something that's very beloved by most fans. When it came out, it was actually extremely shit on, just like the Clone Wars movie. It wasn't until about Season 3 or even 4 of the Clone Wars where it finally found its footing. It finally became something that was must-watch television. When it brought back Darth Maul, it brought in the Mandalorian Wars, it did all these really, really cool stories like the Mortis arc. that's when it became something that you must watch as a Star Wars fan. But the first couple seasons, people weren't really there. They didn't really care. It was kind of just one-off mission type stuff. So there's something to say about, not letting a story breathe, not letting a story grow. And if you only do, like Martha said, those one-off seasons, then maybe you don't get a full-fledged story, Yeah. Ian, what's up, says, no, it's not George, therefore it's not real Star Wars. Hilarious. Okay. Kit Fisto says, what if Ahsoka teamed up with Abeloth to find a way back? I don't think she'd do that. I think she understands that Abeloth is going to be a villain, and she's probably there to stop her, Oh, James with a 2-month membership badge. I appreciate that. Says, do the blue milk instead of water for the culture, bro. I already told you my deal, okay? If on the live stream for 100K, because we will be doing that, on the live stream, if I get $100 in super chats, I've already got DMs that we're going to get there. I'll have the blue milk ready, okay? I'll have the blue milk ready. Okay. Matthew says, I keep having to tell people, or keep having people tell me that Rey is getting erased and a reset is coming despite no evidence. Can they just commence production to shut people up? I mean, they can't just start production early just because people are saying stuff like that. What they can do, though, is, yes, come out and say, nope, it's perfectly fine. We're still working on it over here. And actually, that's what Daisy Ridley did last week. Some people just don't believe her, I guess. She came out and was like, yep, Rey movie's still going great. We're going to start filming soon, hopefully. And everybody's like, yeah, okay. So, I don't know who's telling you that, but I don't think you should listen to him. Because, like you said, there's no evidence to support that. Yeah, now? Stories that could enhance the sequels wouldn't be a bad thing. No, they would not. I don't think there's anybody out there that would say that there would be a bad thing. How can you have something that makes something better be a bad thing? Yeah, no? If Luke doesn't... Oh, wait, what? Where did it go? Crap. It just scrolled all the way down to the bottom. Are you kidding me? Where was that? Oh, if Luke doesn't show up in the Mando movie to go against Thrawn, then we riot. I mean... Let's ask the class, shall we? Do you guys think that Luke, Leia, and Han will be a part of this Mando trilogy? If it happens, or even if it doesn't. Will Luke, Leia, and Han be seen again? I'm going to put that up actually in a poll. We'll end this last one because it's not really budging much. As 87, the math is not mathing, 87% of you do want a Mando trilogy. Okay. Do you think... All right, we'll put it this way. Who do you think will show up in a Mandoverse trilogy? Your first option will be Luke. Then you'll have Han. Then you'll have Leia. Whoops. That's not how you spell Leia. And then you'll have all the above. Boom. Will they all show up, or will just one of them show up? Just Luke, just like only Luke has shown up in the first couple Mando seasons and Book of Boba Fett. All the above is an option. That's how you vote all the above, because it's a freaking option. Okay. Yeah. We'll see where that goes. Right now, it's 50% of you saying all the above. We'll see. We'll see. All right, let me scroll back up here. Oh, okay. It's 12 years in between The Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones, and 3 years in between Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith. Yeah, there you go. It's very, very long. Very, very long. No, Heir to the Empire will be done. Disney doesn't have the balls to dethrone Rey as their girl and try to introduce Mara? Oh, no Heir to the Empire will be done. That's what you're saying. Heir to the Empire is going to be done. It's just not going to be done the exact same way as it's done in Legends. It's not just going to be a retelling or a rehashing of that same story. Could Mara Jade be involved? Maybe. Will she be involved? It's possible, but I don't know. I guess we'll have to wait and see on that. Yeah. I still am fully on board with the possibility of seeing Mara Jade. I think she can still fall in love with Luke. They could even possibly have a secret hidden child. And maybe Luke thinks that she died, or maybe she did die due to Snoke, or maybe even Kylo Ren himself. Like, we don't know. But that's definitely a possibility. Now, think about that. Think about it this way. Everybody's so mad about where Luke Skywalker ended up in The Last Jedi, or most people are. But what if there was way more to that story? What if he went into hiding because of his wife, or what could have been wife, Mara Jade? Maybe he has a kid. Maybe he has to go into hiding to protect all of them. There's a lot more that could be explained when it comes to all that other stuff. Yeah, no? Kay says, it would please a lot of fans to tell a story of Luke and them being ultra cool before the sequel trilogy while also enhancing the sequels. I agree. I think the problem that fans have with the sequels is that they kill off all their favorite characters. Han dies in the first one, Luke dies in the second one, and Leia dies in the third one. And that makes sense. You don't want to see your favorite characters just die. So I think there's a missing part of their story, and that's the middle. Because you get the beginning in the original trilogy, you get the end in the sequel trilogy. We got to see that middle. And we've seen a little bit of it with Luke Skywalker in The Mandalorian and in the Book of Boba Fett. But I want more, and I want a lot more. That's why I think the best bet here is to go animated, just so you don't have to waste so much money, or not waste, but throw so much money into deepfake technology, or even throw so much money into recasting them. You could really just animate them. Give us a 5-season animated show about Luke Skywalker's Jedi Temple show. It could be as big as the Clone Wars. It could be bigger than the Clone Wars. Because it's Luke, Leia, Han, Chewie, Lando, C-3PO, R2-D2, Ben Solo. It could be bigger than the Clone Wars if you do it right. And guess who you have to do it? The guy who did the Clone Wars and Rebels and the Bad Batch, Dave frickin' Filoni. You know? So it seems like a no-brainer to just do an animated show, 5-6 seasons, Luke Skywalker, Jedi Temple, see the downfall, maybe introduce Mara Jade, maybe introduce some new characters that were Luke's younglings or apprentices. Maybe some of them survive. So many Jedi now, we know, survived Order 66. Some of them were hunted down by Inquisitors and died. Some of them survived, like Ahsoka Tano, Baylan Skoll, Cal Kestis, Jodna, if he is technically a Jedi who survived Order 66. But a lot of Jedi survived Order 66. In the movies, we're led to believe that just 2 did, Yoda and Obi-Wan, and that's it. But that's not the case. So maybe something similar could happen with Luke Skywalker's Jedi Temple. Ben Solo, Kylo Ren, technically killed all of them, as far as we're aware. But what if some of them survived? What if some of them weren't on that planet at the time of the destruction? What is it? Oasis? Ososis? What planet's Luke Skywalker's Jedi Temple on? Oh, it starts with an O, I believe. But there's a lot more story there to be told, for sure. Yeah. Dead Mike says, we need to move on from the Skywalker saga, bro. I mean, I say yes and no. I think there's still some stories to be told in the Skywalker saga that I want to see, like a Mando trilogy. But yeah, I absolutely agree. We need to move out of the Skywalker saga as well at the same time. Yeah. Osis, I was close. Did I say Osis? But yeah, I agree. I mean, going to the Old Republic, High Republic, post-sequel trilogy, I want to see stories there, absolutely. Yeah. Provided certain people could get past if something even mentions anything other than the sequel trilogy. Yeah, that's a big problem, because some people have such heavy feelings about the sequel trilogy that anything that relates to them or connects to them or mentions them, they completely shut off and say no. So you got to find a way to kind of please those fans while also not directly saying sequel trilogy things, you know? Yeah. I think they'll push the Mando movie to December 2026 and release Ahsoka in May, but Ahsoka's not a movie, it's a show. No, that won't happen. Mando and Grogu's got its release date. It's May 22nd, 2026. I would be absolutely shocked if that changed. I'd say it's probably 99.9% going to release on that day. Ahsoka's probably going to release after that, but it'll probably be in like August or something like that. That's where Ahsoka Season 1 released actually too. So that would make the most sense, August. And then it'll run into September, October, and then the next movie will come out in December. There's plenty of time in the year, you know? Yeah, no? Skywalker Academy says, the Mandalorian stories will have Luke, Leia, Han, Chewie, Lando, Rey, Ben, Snoke, all interwoven into those movies. I don't know. Well, yes to some of them, and no, like Rey is too young. Ben, maybe too young. Snoke, maybe too early. The Mando trilogy is still 20, 25 years before. So maybe you can introduce those aspects, introduce a very young Ben Solo, introduce Snoke, maybe something behind the scenes, and it's alluding to Snoke, alluding to the First Order rising to power. But yeah. Why doesn't Star Wars stick to the May the 4th release dates? Makes sense to me. Well, only a few things have released on May the 4th. Clone Wars Season 7. I think the Bad Batch did a few times. But none of the movies have, no. None of the movies. Yeah. I saw Mando pause, and I was confused as the movie is filming right now. Yeah, no, it's filming right now. It's filming. Dr. Necker says only the Rey movie is possibly on pause to possibly needing a new script writer yet again. Yeah, that's the whole conversation going on. Like, we don't know. We have no clue because the conversation is Stephen Knight is working on the Peaky Blinders movie right now. So does he have time to write the Rey movie? It's a very valid question. I just don't know. Yeah. I hope Dawn of the Jedi leads up to 100 years of leads up to the 100-year darkness schism. The first 12 Dark Jedi becoming Sith Lords. Yeah. Yeah. I wonder how directly they're going to take aspects from that legend story. Because the story is great, but when they do bring in Legends aspects into canon, they usually alter them. Whether that's on purpose or not. For example, Grand Admiral Thrawn. Now, it's hard because they made the sequel trilogy, and the sequel trilogy kind of doesn't allow you to do the Heir to the Empire trilogy the way that it exists in Legends. But, yeah. Goldberg is playing... Whoopi Goldberg is playing... What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Now I'm just sitting here imagining Mike being 6'5". Yeah, so I broke the news to the Discord. If you guys are not yet in the Discord, there's a link in the description below to a Discord called The People Who Love Star Wars. Go join it. But I broke the news that I'm 6'5" to the Discord, and nobody believed me. I actually had to send a picture of me next to Hayden, because Hayden's 6'1", to prove my height. And it makes sense. I mean, I'm sitting here. There's nothing really behind me that you can put to scale to prove how tall I am. I'm also sitting down. But here, I got the picture right for you guys. I was prepared. I got the picture for you. Yeah, that's a 6'1" Hayden Christensen right next to me. I almost wore that shirt today on the live stream, but I didn't. Okay. Where was I? David says, oh, I forgot to ask for an impression. Can you do a Vane impression? Sure. Because you sent in the nice super chat. Why not? Let's do this. Guys, we also have to talk about this this new movie coming out involves Star Wars on November 1st, so don't let me forget about that. All right, let's do this. Vane the Mandalorian. Let's see.
Stand aside, droid. Don't you know who we are?
Come on, Vane.
Grief, Karga, my old friend. I knew you wouldn't insult us. Come, join us for a drink. I knew you wouldn't insult us. Come, join us for a drink.
I knew you wouldn't insult us. Come join us for a drink. He has a very nasally, I knew you wouldn't insult us. It's a weird accent, but I appreciate it. David, of course. All right. I knew. Dathomir was George and Dave writing in the Clone Wars. Yeah, I mean, witches have been around for decades in Star Wars. I don't know what the complaint is. You know? Geez, Mike, you should do a Vader cosplay. Well, honestly, Halloween's coming up at the end of this month because we are now in October, and I might be going as Han Solo. I know. Maybe I'll think about doing some Vader action. Ooh, hang on. I got a great idea. Because I already went as Anakin and Padme. We already went as Anakin and Padme. What if I went as Vader in a different Padme? Or a dead Padme? Okay, now we're cooking, okay? Or a Chewie. Chewie would be good too. Chewie's kind of like 7'5", though, not 6'5". But yeah. Margaret, what's up, says Mando 3? Scared to say yes and get disappointed. What? What do you mean? What do you mean? Fearless says, sorry, I'm preparing dinner and listening to Mike. Well, there you go. There you go. Ben, what's up? Mike, you buying a plane ticket to get there? I mean, maybe. John, maybe. Tell me in 5 years and we'll see where we're at. Shadow Fast says, can you please make a what if video with this idea? What if Reiko Hardeen shot and killed Anakin instead of Obi-Wan Kenobi? And when Ahsoka finds out, she turns into the Emperor's apprentice. Whew. See, the what if scenario has to be realistic. Do I think Ahsoka would turn into the Emperor's apprentice? Probably not. But what if Reiko Hardeen actually killed Anakin? That would be interesting. Because then Palpatine wouldn't have the Chosen One. He wouldn't have that access to Anakin. It would change pretty much everything. Because Dooku's not the apprentice he wants. Dooku's not really the guy who's going to go kill all these Jedi. He sees the flaws in the Jedi, but he's not really a Sith Lord, so to speak. He is, but he isn't, you know? Anakin's the guy that Palpatine's been grooming for his entire life. And without Anakin, things change. I kind of like that one. I like that one. I think the one I'm going to do for this week, though, is what if Jango Fett killed Padme at the beginning of Attack of the Clones. So with Padme dead that early on in the story, what happens? Because not only is Padme a very, very prominent piece in the Senate to be against the war and all these different peace negotiations, she's a pain in Palpatine's ass. But Anakin losing Padme that early on will be a big deal. Yeah. Yeah. Also, it would accelerate the Clone Wars, accelerate Order 66, and that would mean that Yoda wouldn't be on Kashyyyk and Obi-Wan wouldn't be fighting Grievous. So they would all be at the Jedi Temple to fight against Anakin. How would that go? You know? How would that go? It'd be a pretty crazy showdown, for sure. Nobody will discover the clone army. That's not necessarily true. Think about it. Think about it. Opening scene, Jango Fett, or even still Zam Wesell, whatever her name is, the shapeshifter, kills Padme. Same thing happens. Padme is dead, but the same thing happens. They still have the chase sequence where they go chase her down. They still find the thing. They still go to Obi-Wan still goes and finds Kamino. That stuff still happens, you know? They still find who is behind all of it, you know? Yes, the dart. Exactly. Yes. Oh, Starchip66 with a $5 holla 5th ever super chat says, "Hey Mike, loving this live stream, loving this channel. Please do your best Queel impression. I have spoken." Okay. That's a good one. Okay, let's see. Queel the Mandalorian. You are a Mandalorian. I want to see if I can get that one. Yes, Tim and the Blurg. Here we go. First things first, The Mandalorian season 1 is so underrated. I mean, it's not really underrated. It's well rated, but it's still underrated in my own mind. It's so good.
Perhaps if you removed your helmet.
Perhaps he remembers I tried to roast him.
This is a female. The males are all eaten during mating.
Also, I want a blurg. Anybody else want a blurg in real life? Alright. For lack of trying to get copy struck over here.
I don't have time for this. Do you have a land speeder or speeder bike that I could hire?
You are a Mandalorian. Your ancestors rode the great mythosaur.
How does he talk like that? He's got like a raspy voice or something like that. Hang on. You are a Mandalorian. You are a Mandalorian. Your ancestors rode the great mythosaur. That's very difficult. That's a lot harder than you think. You try it. You try it. I appreciate it, Starship 66. I really, really do. I really, really do. Underrated. That whole first couple episodes, underrated. Actually, that's the first episode, isn't it? Or maybe second. No, it's the first one. That's before he even gets Grogu, right? Because he's going to find him. Yeah. Rangers of the New Republic was on paper for how long? And then, hell, Lord of the Rings show is pure trash. That's so wrong, in my personal opinion. But yeah, no, Rangers of the New Republic was obviously on paper and didn't happen. Got canceled. I'm not saying that every project that's currently on paper is going to release, but the Mandalorian and Grogu movie definitely will. And the Rey movie, probably 99% will. Yeah. David says, the problem with the Acolyte is that, or for an Acolyte season 2, is that most of the characters that we cared about got killed off. Yes and no. I know a lot of fans really love Jecki and Yord and Sol because they're great characters, but they did all get killed off. Moving forward into a second season, it would be mostly all about just Vanestra and Kymir's backstory, which is incredible, but it would be about Kymir training Osha in the ways of the dark side, and it would just be fully focused on the Sith. And not only that, his master is Darth Plagueis. So it would kind of be the sort of conflict, the same thing we see in the Clone Wars between Palpatine, Ventress, and Count Dooku. That dynamic of the rule of two. There can only be two. So would Plagueis allow him to sort of train an apprentice and not try to kill him, or vice versa? That's what it would be. That's what it would be about, you know? Okay. Plagueis and Kymir would be cool, though? Yeah, it would. Didn't James Earl Jones just die? Yeah, a couple weeks ago, actually. JC, what's up? Says, hey, Mike, congrats. Your channel is growing at a time when there's no shows. You have no controversy in a great community. A testament to a job well done. Well, I appreciate that, JC. We try to remain uncontroversial, but apparently my takes on liking things that are Star Wars are controversial takes. But yeah, I appreciate it. I really, really do. And yes, growing when there's nothing going on is pretty good. But I think a lot of that comes from like doing other things. Like obviously there's still news coming out when it comes to Star Wars. When there's no shows, that's when they usually kind of release a lot of news, and that's kind of what we're in right now. But the what ifs actually help quite a bit because it's something that will be there forever. It's not something news based, so you can go back and watch it. It's a great story. It's just a great Star Wars story. The goal for my what ifs, obviously, they're more. I try to get them more and more and more to come to life, adding visuals, adding visual cues, adding vocal cues, like lines for different characters. But the goal is to make it fully animated, maybe in the Clone Wars style, maybe in some other style, and actually tell the story. It's a very, very difficult goal, as I cannot animate for shit. Probably have to hire an entire team to do something like that. But that's the goal eventually. For now, it remains the way that they are. I think they're still very cool, but there's levels to this thing, you know? Always inspiring to get better on each one I make, you know? Yeah, no? Mystic Troll says, I keep falling asleep watching Rings of Power Season 2. I guess it's just not for me. I mean, hey, not everything is for everybody. That's for damn sure. I'm just having a freaking blast with the second season. I feel like I just kind of know the characters just purely based off of the Lord of the Rings lore and stuff that I know. I don't know a lot of lore when it comes to Lord of the Rings, but I know a little bit. We'll put it to that. What's Discord? Discord is just a sort of a group chat type deal. It's just another app that you can just have a bunch of Star Wars people in a group chat where they can talk about Star Wars. You know? Yeah, no? Kay says, that's exactly why I have not been able to get into the Clone Wars. Should I just start with Season 4 instead? Oh, because the first couple seasons are a little slow? No. I think pushing through the first couple seasons actually makes the later seasons even better. The first couple seasons, they have good arcs. I think the Cad Bane stuff in Season 2, maybe Season 1 actually. The Cad Bane stuff is really, really good when he goes in to try to steal the holocron from the Jedi Temple. Like, there's some really good arcs in there, but the arcs just get better when you get later on in the season, you know? Yeah, no? Shadowfast says, can you make a what-if video on the idea of what if Ahsoka was the one who portrayed the clones in Umbara? That, again, like, it has to be something realistic. Ahsoka wouldn't do that. It's been made clear so many times that even, like, the Jedi who fight back against the clones during Order 66, Ahsoka's not one of them. She tries to actually save the clones. So that wouldn't be something that would happen, you know? Yeah, no? Abeloth likely has a piece of her in Ezra. That would be pretty interesting, because Ezra is always this happy-go-lucky guy, but he's had a dark side in Rebels. And he's been on Peridea by himself for 11 years. We don't know what he's been up to. So it'd be pretty cool to see if that was the case, if Abeloth kind of got to him. And maybe, like, start to see the dark side just sort of seep out of him. In maybe Ahsoka Season 2 or something like that. That would be pretty cool. Or like if Abeloth made it back to the main galaxy and everybody who was on Peridea, from Ahsoka to Sabine to Thrawn to the Night Sisters to Ezra, like they all just sort of got embodied by her. That would be wild. Yeah. Rings of Power show is just shipping folks that never happened in the books. Again, I don't know that, so I don't really care, you know? I gotta sneeze. 1 sec. Yeah, okay. I appreciate it. Where was I? What was I just talking about? Oh, Rings of Power. Yeah, again, I didn't read those books. I don't know the lore that much of Lord of the Rings. I know the characters, but I don't really know much other than that. So that doesn't affect me, you know? Doesn't hurt my feelings. If it does for you, I mean, what are you gonna do? What if Abeloth spoke to Ezra through the Sith holocron in Rebels? Interesting. Very interesting. Because the question then becomes, if this is Abeloth who was calling to Balin, how did she call to Balin? Could it have been through a Sith holocron? Huh. And then maybe she could have called to Ezra through the same Sith holocron. That is very interesting. I like that theory quite a bit, actually. I like it a lot. Yeah. Ian says, I haven't talked Mike into doing a full Diet Coke break ad thing yet. What? What the hell does that even mean? That's crazy. Get that shit ready because we'll get there. Okay, James. I appreciate it, and I hope we do. Yeah. Did anyone mention The Fifth Element yet? What? What? I haven't watched it, guys, yet, okay? Jeez. Can we have some good cups follow orders in the chat, please? Bumba. I haven't watched it yet. God. Okay. Just scroll down to the bottom again. Anakin would end Django. Wouldn't he wish he was shown the same mercy Mace showed him? Chopping off his head, you mean? I don't think Anakin would kill Django because, well, a few reasons. Obi-Wan wouldn't let him. It would go a similar route where Obi-Wan would be the one to take the reins of this because Anakin would be too caught up in it that the Jedi Order wouldn't let him. And that would make him grow even more mad. And without Obi-Wan there to sort of take care of him because he's off on Kamino, he would go to his mentor, and that's Palpatine. And Palpatine would just plant even more seeds, drawing him to the dark side. Yeah. That's kind of the road I'm going down right now. I'm writing the script right now, so I'm kind of still in the sort of brainstorming phase, but yeah. Yeah. Talk to Star Wars Santa about blurgs? I don't think Santa's here today. But next time I see him, I will. Next time I see him, I will. The Filoni movie's on paper, that's true. But I think that one's going to definitely happen. Yeah. It would be Dave Filoni's first live-action movie. I don't think they'd take that from him. Universal, what's up? What I missed in the first hour? Well, we talked about a lot of things, but the highlight is Giancarlo Esposito talking about a Mando trilogy. Yeah. All right, let's talk about this, shall we? Just a little skipping around. There is a Star Wars movie, or a movie about something Star Wars, we'll put it that way, coming on November 1st. Does anybody know about this? Give me one to the chat if you know what I'm talking about. November 1st, in theaters, something Star Wars is being released. And the trailer for it just dropped 3 hours ago. You guys know what I'm talking about? Jedi Geek in the house. What's up? Yes, John Williams. Okay, let's watch this, shall we? So John Williams, if you don't know, is the greatest composer of all time. I mean, there's pretty much no ifs, ands, or buts about that. He is the greatest composer of all time. Every movie that you know and love that has a great soundtrack is pretty much that guy, at least from the 70s, 80s, 90s, and 2000s, but less so as of recent. From Star Wars to Indiana Jones to Jaws to Harry Potter to Superman to literally everything. It's him. Oh, a $5 holla. I appreciate that. From Thrawn Kill says, trivia time. The TMNT, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, character of Casey Jones is based off of Kurt Russell, Jack Burton in Big Trouble in Little China. Well, that's not a trivia question. Oh, that's just the answer to the trivia question? So the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle character of Casey Jones is based off of Kurt Russell's Jack Burton in Big Trouble in Little China. I did not know that. And that is so on topic. It's crazy. No, I'm kidding. I appreciate that. I really, really do. But let's watch this trailer, shall we? So this is coming into theaters. Let's watch it.
The greatest way to demonstrate how much music affects movies, play it absolutely with no music at all. And then go back and do the whole scene again with all the cues. And you'll recognize the absolute brilliance of John Williams.
The minute John raises his baton and plays the first theme, you just go, oh my God, here's another one.
Star Wars basically would not be Star Wars without Johnny Williams' music.
People say, how do you do so much work? I was filled with the love of music and the pleasure of doing it with great musicians.
After he does music for my movie, I start to see my movie in his way.
The first thing I played for Stephen on this piano was this. And I played that for him, and he said, what is that? What are you going to do with it?
He's somebody who learned his skills painstakingly. I think people should see somebody who has worked alone in a room for 60+ years. There's a lot of sacrifices, and I think that he expresses himself through music.
Music for a musician is like breathing. It supports us, sustains us, gives us energy.
The fact that the same man wrote music for Star Wars,
the Olympics,
Poseidon Adventure, and Earthquake, he always finds a way to tap into the essence of what makes it moving or meaningful.
The main reason I think it's important to celebrate him is just to say thank you for that amount of joy.
He's always in a process of discovery.
He finds a whole new way of telling the story musically each time. It's the purest form of art I've ever experienced from any human being.
Music is enough for a lifetime, but a lifetime is not enough for music.
It does say streaming on November 1st here, but from what I've heard, it is hitting theaters on November 1st as well. So you can go watch it in the theaters if you want, but you can also stream it at home. But yeah, I mean, it's just a documentary, a film about John Williams' life. And I mean, the guy's the greatest of all time. He is the guy. When you think of scripts, was that Chris Martin? Yeah, he's the lead singer of Coldplay. But yeah, they just interview a bunch of people, bunch of directors, bunch of musicians, all that kind of stuff, and of course John Williams himself. But it's going to go through his whole life, I'm sure, his early life, his stuff, and then of course the 70s, 80s, and 90s when he did all of the crazy work of all those Star Wars movies, and of course Jurassic Park and Superman and all that stuff. The guy's a freaking genius. I can't wait to watch this. Being a musician myself, this is so damn cool. And the fact that you can take two things that I absolutely love from Star Wars and music, put the two together. Like, think about it this way. Actually, Steven Spielberg says it at the beginning of this trailer perfectly. You watch a scene without the music, then you watch it with the music, and it's like night and day. Especially in Jaws. It's just people swimming around with no music, but when you add the music, it's, oh my God, there's a shark after them or somebody's after them. It's a completely different thing. Music changes everything. And if you even watch Star Wars without the music, it changes everything as well. So it's absolutely crazy. And George Lucas in this trailer says it as well. Star Wars would be nothing without Johnny Williams' soundtrack. And he could not be more right. Star Wars needed a lot of things to become what it is today. The greatest franchise of all time. That's what it is today. But one of those things is John Williams in his soundtrack, and it's absolutely incredible. Yeah. So that comes out on November 1st, which is a month from today. So that's pretty cool. That is pretty damn cool, if I do say so myself. Yeah. Never saw Jaws? Okay. You guys come after me for not watching The Fifth Element. Never seen Jaws? Jeez. Star Wars music is a character itself. Yeah, kinda. Okay. But yeah, that's pretty cool. It comes out in a month from today, November 1st. There you go. All right, let me scroll back up here. Get back to the topic at hand. I reckon the blurgs were in the old computer game Golden Axe. I don't know what that is. I guess I wouldn't know. Yeah. I have spoken. Rangers got canceled because What's-Her-Face got canceled. Yeah, Gina Carano. She got fired. So her character was going to probably be the main character of that show, or at least a big main character. But, yeah, that's kind of what happened to that show. Will you watch The Fifth Element tonight? Probably not. Here's the thing. I could either watch The Fifth Element, or I can write a script for an incredible what if. I'm sure the movie's great, guys, but I think I think I'll be doing the other, the latter. Yeah. Yeah. Vanestra's backstory is that she somehow is a fallen Jedi who goes unnoticed despite all of the mischievous things taking place under her command. I don't think she's a fallen Jedi in particular. I think she's just more embodying the downfall of the Jedi. Yeah. Yeah, no? Yeah, no? I want the backstory on how Vanestra became bald. I'm currently in phase 3 of the High Republic. Yeah, that's true. She has hair in that, doesn't she? That's the backstory you want to hear. Mike, just curious. If you are, in fact, 8 feet, okay, not, but what size shoe are you? And what's your preference on footwear, LOL? Shoes? What do you mean? Oh, like flip-flops or sneakers? I like a good flip-flop. I like a good sneaker, I guess. I don't know. So, yeah. And what size shoe? 13, I think. 13. I could be wrong now. Oh, it's 13. Yeah, it's 13. Yes. Pam Hill says, thank you, Mike, for all your Star Wars knowledge. Well, yeah, I guess. I appreciate that. But I don't ever claim, or never would claim, to be a know-it-all when it comes to Star Wars. There's still plenty I have to learn. Absolutely plenty I have to learn when it comes to Star Wars. Especially on the Legends side of things. I like to think I know a lot about canon Star Wars, but on the Legends side of things, there's more so that I don't really know. But I appreciate it, nonetheless. I would never claim to be a guy who knows all about Star Wars. I'm a guy who loves Star Wars, not a guy who knows all. But yeah. 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 Kay says, he's been hanging out with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Who? What? Oh, the Noties. Oh, that's where the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles super tech came from. I was so confused when we got that. I appreciate it, but I was very confused. Yeah, no, so yeah, Ezra's been hanging out with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in the other galaxy. Got it. Yes. Aaron says, Meacham Music? Oh, Aaron says, do the full chronological watch. It's a lot to get through, but it makes the highlights more rewarding. I don't know what that's referring to. Oh, the Clone Wars. Yes. Yeah, watching all the Clone Wars episodes makes you fall in love with the characters more. Like, that's the cool part about animation, especially with the Bad Batch in particular, is you get introduced to a character in Season 1, Episode 1 of Omega, and by Season 3, you're absolutely in love with the character. It's a very new character, but you're in love with the character, and by the end, you feel emotionally attached to the character. But that's because you spend so much time with the character on these just one-off missions or whatever. And that's the same can be said about Ahsoka, Anakin, Obi-Wan in the Clone Wars. You spend so much time with those characters, even if it's just one-off stories, you're spending more time in learning more about those characters. So, yeah, absolutely those not so important arcs make those important arcs even that much more cool, for sure. Star Wars original trilogy producer Robert Watts passed away today. I did see that. Yeah, that sucks. I did have this up too. He was a producer on Indiana Jones as well, which is very strange because it just so happens that today was the day they took off Indiana Jones off of Disney Plus. Very strange. But we can read this for sure. This comes from The Hollywood Reporter. Robert Watts, Star Wars and Indiana Jones producer, dies at 86. 86 is a long life. That's very, very, very long life and very successful life at that too. Okay. Robert Watts, the British producer and production manager who collaborated with George Lucas on the first 3 Star Wars films and first 3 Indiana Jones movies, has died. He was 86. He was asleep. That's blah, blah, blah. That's just a statement about it. For the extremely challenging first Star Wars films, he served as production supervisor under production designer John Barry, and he traveled to Morocco and Tunisia to scout locations. He then did some third unit directing as well. Wow, so he scouted the location for all of Tatooine, Morocco and Tunisia. He's the one who found the Lars homestead. A goat. The films became overwhelming. His half-brother is Jeremy Bulloch, who plays Boba Fett. That's wild. So the guy who's under the mask for Boba Fett in the original trilogy is his half-brother, and he recommended him for the role. That's an Easter egg right there if I've ever heard one. That's crazy. The more you know. The more you know. Well, that's a sad one to lose for sure, but he lived a long and very successful life. Helped bring the greatest trilogy ever to life. And brought us Tatooine, sounds like. Found where Tatooine would reside. Mike, do you think that there will be some there will be some excellent World Between Worlds action in the next movie, with Ezra and Ahsoka using it to travel back and forth with the Mortis gods having powers? No, I don't think the World Between Worlds is used like that. It's not a traveling thing to travel from location to location. It's definitely not a time travel thing either. But will the World Between Worlds be seen again? Maybe. I just hope they don't use it too crazily, you know? You know? What? Okay. Wait, so Gideon didn't die in season 3? That's a whole nother... Let's put this. Let's start up a new poll in the chat, shall we? This poll's been up for a little while. And by the way, only 2% of you guys think Han Solo or Leia, but 47% say Luke and 46% say all of the above. All right, let's do this. Holy shit. Okay, well, hang on. Do you think Sonny just dropped a crazy super chat and I can't even think right now. Do you think... that's what I was going to say. Moff Gideon is still alive? Yes or no? Do you think Moff Gideon survived the events of The Mandalorian Season 3? Now, just vote on that. Go vote on that. Just do you think he's still alive from the events of The Mandalorian Season 3? Do you think that wasn't him that was either there and died, or do you think his armor made him survive? There's a few options there. For me, I don't think he's alive. Now, I understand the whole mustache thing of it all, where he didn't have a mustache in season 3 when he did in season 1 and season 2, you know you can get rid of a mustache. But the theory is that that was a clone of Moff Gideon. I don't know. I don't think it was. If he is alive, the more likely scenario is that he just survived that explosion because of his armor. But Grogu's the one who saves the other ones, not the armor. So I don't know. I think he's dead, but tell me in the chat, what do we think? Alex, what's up? All right, now let's get to this bomb of a super chat. Sonny with a very generous $20 holla. God damn, $20 holla might be the biggest super chat we've ever received in channel history, as far as I can remember. That's absolutely insane. I appreciate it, Sonny. Says, Mike, did you hear about the 5-part prequel to the Book of Boba Fett called, to the Bad Batch, called Bad Batch Ghost Agents? Tech is alive. Yes, Tech is alive, and yes, I did hear about it, because it's a prequel. So Tech's obviously alive in a prequel because he wasn't dead yet. But it's actually not a series, it's a comic run. So it's not a animated show or a show at all. It's a comic book run. But yes, I did hear about that. That's very, very cool. It is called Bad Batch Ghost Agents, and Tech is alive. Actually, Echo's not in it because he's in... It's before that. It's before he joins the crew in Clone Wars Season 7. And Omega, of course, is not in it because she doesn't join the crew until the Bad Batch. So it's the only original 4 of the Bad Batch members going on missions. But that is very, very generous, Sonny. I appreciate that quite a bit. Sonny, the professional martini drinking blogger. I appreciate it quite a bit. Oh, Alex with the 4-month membership. I appreciate that as well. Okay. Where was I? Just go down all the way to the bottom. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Sonny, what's up? Okay. JC says, that's true. How is Ezra there for 11 years without coming across Abeloth, feeling her in the Force or anything else like that? More to that for sure. I don't think Abeloth is just freely roaming around this planet, though. That's the only reason why she might not have gotten to Ezra, because she's imprisoned on this planet, and she might not be freed yet, and Baylan might be the one to go free her. You know? So maybe that's why. But Ezra might have sensed her through the Force. Sensed the darkness of her? I don't know. We'll see. We shall see. I did not know that. Makes sense, though, Lee. That makes sense. Superman is the best theme ever. It's definitely up there. It's definitely up there, for sure. For sure. I just read a website that said Mace Windu is not dead. He's coming back. I mean, there's no confirmation to that, but there's some fans that definitely still believe that. Mace Windu coming back. What do we think, chat? Adam, what's up? Oh, and goodbye, I guess. You know? Dead Mike says, I've been a member for 2 months. I get no love for that either. Well, you got to send in the thing, you know? How am I supposed to know that, Dead Mike? How am I to know? If you're a member, you get member chats for free, I believe. Like 1 a month or something, 2 a month, something like that. No body, no death. Well, that could be said about Moff Gideon and Mace Windu. No body, no death. I don't know. For both characters, I don't think they should be alive. Mace Windu wouldn't really make much sense because why wouldn't he come back to fight? After he dies and loses to Palpatine and Anakin, you don't think he's going to come back and try and fight for what he lost? Or at least go try and find Yoda or Obi-Wan? That doesn't make much sense to me. And then the Gideon thing is he's dead. I don't see bringing him back what the purpose of that is. Thrawn is your new big bad, and he's a great one. You don't need Gideon to keep playing the role of bad guy, you know? Yeah, no? I've been to a John Williams Star Wars concert. That's sick. They are unforgettable. There is one happening soon in Boston and Minneapolis. That's awesome. Might have to go see that. That would be incredible. Hearing that live would be so cool. Connor says, I don't think there's another composer out there that can capture the feeling of suspense and excitement so quickly. I don't know if there is. I mean, there's some other really great composers out there. young guys now, like the guy who did The Mandalorian. The Mandalorian soundtrack's incredible. He's, what's his name? Ludwig something? He also did Oppenheimer, I believe, which is incredible too. Then you have guys like the guy who did Interstellar, who did shit, what else did he do? What's that guy's name? Somebody help me out on that. Can you become a member on your phone, or does it have to be on a computer? It could be on your phone. Yeah, on your phone you definitely can. So here, I'll pull it up on my phone so we can show you what I mean. All right, so if you pull up the stream on your phone, let me do it real quick. Okay, let's see. All right, so here's the stream on my phone. Smash a like, Mike. What are you doing? I just smashed a like. Okay, so it looks like this. That's me right there. You click the description. You what the hell? Hang on, trying again. Let's try this again. You click the description. Now there's an ad. Okay. You click the description right there. It should be right underneath. And then you'll see this description here. Oh, you can't see that, can you? What the hell? Focus. Focus, you stupid camera. Well, whatever. You click the description and there should be 2 links. One to join the community and one to join the Discord. So you can just join the community there. There you go. Okay. Star Wars music is a character itself. Yeah, it kind of is. Oh, Inklet. Welcome to the people who love Star Wars. Welcome to the people who love Star Wars. Inklet at the Padawan level. I appreciate it. I appreciate it quite a bit. Welcome to the people who love Star Wars. That's very, very generous of you. Watch The Fifth Element, for crying out loud, okay? Maybe I will. Maybe I will. Do you think John Williams will do more Star Wars projects in the future? Probably not. I don't think so, for a few reasons. One, they marketed the sequel trilogy as like his last sort of go-around with Star Wars. And 2, they have some really great composers at Star Wars still without John Williams. They take from inspiration from John Williams. John Williams walked so that they could run, so to speak. But you have like the Kiner Bros who did who've done all the animation stuff from Clone Wars to Bad Batch to Rebels to now Ahsoka in live action. You have Ludwig who did The Mandalorian, which is one of the greatest theme songs ever. Who else you got as composers? You got some great composers over at Star Wars. So are you going to do like bring John Williams back if he doesn't want to? Probably not. So I don't know. It'll depend on what the Mandalorian and Grogu movie holds. Maybe, but probably not. Yeah, no? What about John Williams, or what about Juan Gilliams? Hilarious. Okay. But I've seen Resistance. I still haven't seen... You've seen Resistance and you didn't watch the Clone Wars? Is that what you just told me? I haven't seen Resistance yet. Okay. I'm going to be completely honest. Still haven't seen it. Oh my God. Sonny with another generous $5 holla says, Mike, I'm going to LA Comic-Con this weekend. Hopefully you get to meet Ewan and Hayden. Both are scheduled to be at the live event. That is awesome. Sonny, if you got pictures with Hayden and Ewan, send them to the Discord. That would be so cool. Hans Zimmerman. Thank you, Joe. Thank you. Oh my God. That was, my brain was broken for a while there trying to figure out his name. Hans Zimmerman is a great composer. But going back to what Sonny said, that's awesome. LA Comic-Con sounds fan-frickin-tastic. Hayden and Ewan, tell them I say hi. They won't know who I am, but tell them I say hi. I appreciate it. Yeah. Yeah. We are very proud of him being a conductor of the Boston Pops here in MA. I don't know what that is, but okay, sure. Yes. Yes. Yeah. What if Star Wars and The Fifth Element merged? Can be your what if? What's up, Explore the Force? No, definitely not. I'm 6'6" and size 14. Damn, got me beat. You got me beat. You'll be now known as Big Mike? No, it's Darth Salty Nut Roll. Okay? Get it right. Okay? Okay. Yeah. I do some toy photography. Jesus. So I've been busy. So I've been buying something from Etsy. I bought a Republic Commando weapon, Republic Commando replacement hand for KOTOR stuff. That's cool. That's cool. Amanda, what's up? Legends, the tabletop game. I haven't played that game, but I do have a friend who has it. If that makes sense. Jedi Geek says, when asked whether Windu could therefore return for a sequel series or appear, Samuel L. Jackson said, enthusiastically said, everything yes, he is not dead. I know, but that's an actor saying that. Like, there's a difference between Samuel L. Jackson wanting to come back and the character of Mace Windu actually coming back. You know? I'm sure Giancarlo Esposito wants to come back as Moff Gideon, but there's a big difference there. Yeah. There's a big difference there. I agree that, like, because Samuel L. Jackson wants to come back, you probably should have brought him back, but now it seems almost too late. How are you going to introduce him back into the story without having him play a role? There has to be a great enough told story to explain why he isn't involved in the original trilogy or the Mandoverse, for that matter. You know? You know? By the way, 69% of you guys do think that Moff Gideon is still alive. First of all, nice. But second of all, what? Really? Really? I don't know. I don't agree. I think his death felt a little convenient. I want him to be gone, though, LOL. It wasn't convenient. It was kind of just his death, you know? Moff Gideon died. He blew up in a wheelchair by a wheelchair in retirement home. That is Gustavo Fring. A little bit different. But yes, you are correct. That was his clone? I don't think so. I don't think so. Did he just say Darth Salty Nut Roll? That is funny. We haven't said that on stream in such a long time that so many of you guys are fairly new to the channel, don't know what I'm talking about. Yes, my Sith Lord name. So it's almost similar to like Count Dooku. You know Count Dooku by the name Count Dooku, but his Sith name is Darth Tyrannus. It might be one of the coolest Sith names ever that just never gets used, but his name is Darth Tyrannus. My name is Mike, of course. You guys know me as Mike. But my Sith name is Darth Salty Nut Roll. We'll leave it at that. If you know, you know. Yeah. Yeah. If you know, you know. Okay. I'll be honest, getting through 2 seasons of Resistance for the first time was harder than getting through 7 seasons of the Clone Wars. I've gained an appreciation for it, though, but it had to adjust for a bit. The animation style is definitely different. It's similar to like people going to watch Rebels and saying that they can't watch it because of the animation style. But I'm sure there's some good story in there, and I have to watch it at some point. So at some point I will. Darth SNL? No, it would be Darth SNR. Darth Salty Nut Roll? Yeah. Yeah. Mace Windu got amnesia and takes a long time to recover, and when he remembers what happened, for him to remember what happens to him, he does probably hit his head pretty hard. That's for sure. That's for sure. Oh, Cole with a very generous $2. Holla, Cole. I appreciate that. It says Obi-Wan Trilogy. R.I.P. A shame. Interview was crazy. Yeah, the Obi-Wan Trilogy news. I mean, Obi-Wan was always supposed to be a trilogy from the jump. This was sort of the big news probably a few years ago that it was supposed to be a trilogy. But it was shortly turned into one movie, and then it was turned into a TV show. But at one point, as Ewan McGregor has said many, many times over again, it was supposed to be a trilogy. So, yeah, that's a bummer. I wonder what it would have looked like if it was a trilogy rather than the show. Because honestly, I don't think the show should have been as long as it was. Probably should have been only 3 or 4 episodes, which means it probably would have made a good one movie. I don't know about a trilogy, maybe just one movie, but the more you know. The more you know. Big yawn. How old is Mace Windu? By the time of the prequel trilogy? I don't know. You got to be Moff kidding me. That's crazy. UV Clips, what's up, Clips, says, Moff Gideon may still be alive. I mean, shit, Beskar managed to stop a lightsaber. Well, that's sort of the gist of it. So, who's to say the Beskar couldn't stop the explosion, right? I mean, he's got a jetpack too, so easy to escape and stuff. You bring up some good points. You do. The Beskar armor is something that could be, like, key for his survival. Because, yeah, Beskar is very strong. Very, very strong. Yeah. I don't know. I could see him coming back, and if they tell it the right way, it could be good. But I don't know. We'll have to wait and see, I guess. Oh, my God. You guys are crazy. You guys are crazy. The internet says he's 67. By the time of the Clone Wars? What are you talking about? Hang on. How old was... You talking about the actor himself or the character? Mace Windu when he died. It says Mace Windu was 53 years old when he died on Coruscant in 19 BBY. There you go. 53. 53. Mike, have you checked out Young Jedi Adventures? I have not. Don't know if it's worthwhile. I have not. I think Anthony or somebody in the chat has. It's mostly geared towards really young children. And I say that being a big fan of Rebels, which, I mean, I guess it's not really geared towards little children. But it is more really geared towards, like, really young kids. So I have not watched it, no. Yeah. Just makes me think of Darth Snore. No, Darth Salty Nut Roll. Okay? Okay. Don't make me bring out my dark side. I bet Kenobi Season 2 is happening. We probably just get it announced. It will probably be announced at Star Wars Celebration next year. I think there will be some sort of big announcement next year, whether it's Kenobi Season 2 or Book of Boba Fett Season 2 or a Mando trilogy, remains to be seen. Yeah. From Google. So Mace Windu was born around either... So you're giving me 2 separate dates? I'll show you what I found. How old was Mace Windu when he died? Here you go. How old was Mace Windu when he died? He was born in 72 BBY and died in 19 BBY. You do some quick maths, some really, really quick maths, and that still makes him only 73. I mean, cheeks. That only makes him 53, right? 53? Yeah, quick maths. Maybe you're looking at Legends. Nope, same thing on Legends. Yeah. Oh, yeah, we got some news about Star Wars Outlaws. That's not really great news. Star Wars Outlaws reportedly only sold 1 million copies on launch. Let's read this real quick, shall we? It's not often that Star Wars fans are treated to a video game these days. There we go. That's better. We are lucky if there's a new one released once a year or once every 2 years. 2024 saw the release of the first non-EA Star Wars game in over a decade in the form of Star Wars Outlaws from publisher Ubisoft. Outlaws got a wide release on August 30th. Those who pre-ordered more premium versions got the game a few days early. The response and excitement around launch was fairly muted, with the title getting a score of 76 out of 100 on PC, on PlayStation 5, and PC along with 75 out of 100 on Xbox via Metacritic. The initial launch suffered a handful of noteworthy bugs, with the most headline-inducing being that some of those who purchased the aforementioned premium version of Star Wars Outlaws for early access on PlayStation 5 had the game breaking bug that required players to start their story from scratch. Despite these hiccups, Star Wars Outlaws did manage to get pretty positive reviews from critics. Again, I didn't have any of these issues. Never once did I lose my save. Never once did I have to restart. All that stuff. So I didn't have any of these issues. I enjoyed the game quite a bit. The new characters are very, very good. And I want to see more of, honestly, these characters. And it's the first ever open world Star Wars game, which is great. But Star Wars Outlaws was the first Star Wars project to follow the Disney Plus Star Wars series, The Acolyte, which divided Star Wars fans, had a mixed response from critics, and failed to garner enough views to enter the Nielsen's top 10 streaming original charts for multiple weeks. Up until that point, no live-action Star Wars series had failed to enter that chart whilst airing. So it is unfortunate for Outlaws that it had to follow follow what's likely the most disappointing Star Wars series released, and probably one of the most disappointing Star Wars releases overall under the Disney era in terms of performance. Last month, Reuters shared a report that Star Wars Outlaws, after its first week, had struggled to reach projections. The outlet spoke with JP Morgan's analyst, Daniel Krevin, who shared that analysts have now tweaked their sales projections for the Ubisoft release by 2 million copies, projecting that Outlaws would sell around 5.5 million copies come the end of March 2025, the end of the fiscal year. So originally, it was going to release 7.5 million copies, now down to 5.5 million copies, and only to date now has released 1 million copies, which is not a good thing. I forget how many, let's see how many copies Star Wars Outlaws released, or Star Wars Fallen Order, I should say. Jedi Fallen Order. How many copies did Jedi Survivor sell? Why does it not just tell me total? Just tell me what I want to see. 1 year ago, Jedi Survivor became April 2023's best-selling game in 2 days. That's not what I want to see. Over 10 million copies, it says, worldwide. So over 10 million copies for Jedi Survivor so far to date, with over a year being out. And right now, Star Wars Outlaws is not on that same trajectory, only selling 1 million in its first just about month being released. So not really a good track. Now, a lot of that did come to a lot of bad articles being written about the game, all the bugs that it had on launch, but I would still recommend it. Obviously, it's $70, so it's not that cheap of a game, but so is Jedi Survivor, and I would recommend it because it's an open world Star Wars game with a lot of cool new stories. The story itself, the main story, I should say, is really, really good. There's a bunch of side missions and stuff. My one big problem with all these Star Wars games nowadays is that they're not multiplayer. I liked Battlefront, Battlefront 1, Battlefront 2 because they're multiplayer and I get to play with my friends and play with the community and play with you guys. Battlefront 3 seems like a no-brainer at this point, but all these new games, the Jedi games are great. Star Wars Outlaws was great, but I want a multiplayer game. where I can play with the Star Wars community and play with everybody else. You know? But we'll see if that ever happens. My video game budget for Star Wars is waiting for the Cal Kestis 3 game. I'm spoiled by being able to play as a Jedi. I need Force powers. For me, it's a big to drop the big bucks. Yeah, that's a big thing too. K-Vess is just a scoundrel. She's not a Force user or a Jedi or anything like that. That's true. Yeah. I heard Outlaws has a lot of bugs, creatures, and monsters and pirates, etc. That is true. Not just bugs digitally, but bugs in game as well. Yeah. That is true. Oh my God. You guys are crazy. You guys are absolutely crazy. I'm going to end this poll. Wow. 65% of you guys still think that Moff Gideon is alive. That's bonkers to me. I don't think he is, but we'll have to wait and see, I guess. We'll just have to wait and see. All right. But until then, you dig my well, hang on. You dig my Funkos? Thank you. There's actually a lot more off screen than there is on screen. They go a lot more further that way, but I got a lot of them. I got quite a bit of them. Absolutely. Do not spam in the chat, please. Yeah, so I got some good ones for sure. Got Cal Kestis right there. Speaking of Jedi Fallen Order. Yeah, no. Okay. All right, I think we're going to get on out of here. We've been going for over 2 hours now. Time just flies on these freaking live streams. But watch out for a short in about an hour-ish. And watch out for a video hopefully tomorrow. And, of course, I'll be working very hard on my what if for the next couple days. Yeah. I'm always cooking when watching your live streams. That's awesome. What are you making? Can I have some? Make me some. Make me some. I'm hungry. I gotta go get something to eat. But until then, smash a freaking like on the stream. Hit subscribe. Hit that bell so you get notified every time I post a video. In my pretty face will show up on the recommended feed of yours. We are on the road to 100K. Officially on that road. The countdown begins now. We are at 9 in the countdown because it goes 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Because we are at 91,000 subscribers and counting. So I appreciate all of you guys for hitting that subscribe. Huge shout outs to Sonny for probably the biggest super chat we've ever had in channel history. Cole, Sonny, Inklet, Alex, Thrawn Kills, Starship 66, James, Martha, David, Aaron for becoming members, super chats, all that fun extra stuff. I appreciate it quite a bit. Quite a bit. All right. Until then, may the Force be with you. Always. Oh yeah, what a great stream. What a great show. You guys are the absolute best. I appreciate every last one of you so much more than you will ever know. I hope you have a great rest of your evening, great rest of your lives, and good night, everybody. Wait. That guy B says, where did everybody get those lightsabers after their names? You got to become a member to get that. Yeah. Gotta be a member. Good night, everybody.